Hi everyone, my name is Gregory Scott, and as you can see, I'm going to do the chart of Joan Rivers today. So I'm going to have a look at the natal chart, and I'm going to have a look at the progress chart and transits as well. And the way it works is the birth chart really is a snapshot of what was happening in the heavens when a person was born. And that snapshot has a profound effect on that person for the rest of their life, because that moment lasts, and that's the way you came into this world, which makes you a product of this world, and that's the way you're going to be. The progress chart takes the birth chart and it speeds it up unto the current time, and it does that by advancing certain heavenly bodies by 1 degree. And that really indicates as how that person has evolved over time and how things have progressed over the years. And that's a great way to look at each year in succession, to look at certain things about how a person has changed. And then the last thing I'm going to have a look at is the transits. And that's what's happening in the heavens at the moment. And the way they kind of transit, so pass a person's natal chart, really means that each person is affected uniquely by what's going on in the heavens. So I'm going to have a look at that. So I just want to get started. Joan Rivers, the reason I'm doing this is I was having a look at some charts online, and just some of the people that really struck me, I had a look at the charts at. And I love Joan Rivers. I think she's hilarious. I think she's a very... people are either going to love her or hate her. So I'll be interested to see how many people watch this video, but I just want to go on record and say that I love her, and she's made me laugh several times, and I've actually met her. I went to the opening of the documentary that came out a couple of years ago, and I met her in Sheffield, so that was great. So the chart is really interesting, and it's nice, again, just for me as an astrologer, to see these kind of charts, because it really confirms my belief in astrology. The main thing that I want to have a look at, and hang on, so the main thing, she's a Gemini, sun sign Gemini. Sun sign is very much what gives you energy and what you put out there into the world and what really gets you going. Gemini is the star sign that's all about communication, all about thoughts, ideas, sharing ideas, communication, and we all know that this woman loves to communicate, so that really makes sense. But if you have a look at this chart, if you look at the bottom of the circle, those three things that are lumped together, that's Sun, Mercury and Venus. And she doesn't just have her Sun in Gemini, but she's got Sun in Gemini in her third house. And the houses are just the way the chart is split up into these different kind of triangular sections, so there's 12 of them. And the third house is about communications, expressing yourself and sharing information. So the fact that, her Sun couldn't be any more chatty, really. It's right there. It's right there in communication mode all the time. Chat, non-stop, okay? But not only that, Mercury and Venus are next to that in Gemini too. So these planets are also colored by this Gemini energy, and their output is going to be in a way that's airy. So air represents thoughts and ideas, and it's going to be very much on a communicative level. Gemini is an interesting star sign because it's ruled by Mercury, and Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. Virgo is more about analyzing information, and Gemini is about relaying information. Journalists are Gemini, media people, lecturers, professors, who else kind of communicates? People who... I've said the obvious ones, but educators very much, teachers, people who take charge in terms of information and pass it on to the greatest number of people, and not in a leadership position, but as just someone who takes that information and shares it. So I've mentioned Mercury. So next to her Sun, Joan Rivers' Sun there, Mercury rules Gemini. It's in Gemini in her chart, so it's perfectly placed. It's the communication planet in a communication sign in the house of communication. Again, talk, non-stop. And then Venus is there as well in Gemini. Venus is what you love to do. So not only is she extremely gifted at talking, not only does it give her energy and enlighten her body and self to talk, but she also loves to do it in every way. So there's no way that this woman would ever stop talking or doing what she does. And I mean, talking and making jokes are two different things. So it's the communication side of things that really gets her going. And it could be possible that, you know, the jokes and the comedy is a way of finding a way to get people to listen and to continue the dialogue all the time, or the monologue, really. But it could be that the talk is the most important thing, and then the means is the second, and that she found something that really allowed her to just keep communicating as often as possible. What's interesting is that Venus is right next to that line on the right of it called the IC, the Imam Coli. And when I had a reading with Alyssa Sharp recently, and we were talking about, you know, one astrologer to another, we were talking about some of the things, and she mentioned that one of her mentors or whatever told her that when a planet comes near one of the lines, it makes it very intuitive and psychic. So Venus is the planet of love, it's Aphrodite, it's in Gemini, it's in communication mode, and if you take that, activating a planet and making it, you know, really pop, the fact that it's near that IC means that from a family situation, she came out of a family situation where she loved to talk, so it could be that her family was very verbal and really nurtured and encouraged that dialogue, and that she was really able to tap into that from a very early age, and that's where the love comes from. And it could be that the actual ongoing communication with other people is like a reminder or a homecoming to her childhood, to her family life. Oh, I also wanted to mention, speaking of family life, I also wanted to mention that the timings, that the details that I need for one of these charts is quite important. So for Joan Rivers, I've got June the 8th, 1933 in Brooklyn Heights, New York, USA. And then I've got 2 a.m. in the morning, and the time is important. I can use sunrise if the time isn't available, but the time is important because it makes a difference to the charts, especially the signs going around the outside of the chart. So it's quite important. Okay. I look for patterns that spring out at me, important things. I mean, I could go through the basics of sun, rising, moon, midheaven. That's what I did in the last reading for Doreen Virtue. Have a look at that. But what I really do when I do astrology reading, I look at what speaks to me, because there's so much. I look at what really gives me an intuitive hit as something that's significant, and what I'm being guided to is all the things happening on the eastern side of the chart. You've got Mars, Mercury and Neptune in Virgo in the 6th house, and the 6th house usually has to do with daily routine, and it has to do with health, and it has to do with the in and outs of life, the run-of-the-mill everyday kind of stuff. And the Jupiter in Virgo there really would indicate the good health, the longevity that this woman obviously enjoys. She's 80 years old, or she's just turned 81, so obviously health is something that really supports her and really is a gift and a blessing to her, and that I would assign to that Jupiter in Virgo. Virgo is very disciplined about daily routine, and it's very disciplined about the health of the body. So I feel that if she felt something, okay, whatever. I think that if she noticed there was something wrong with her, she wouldn't ignore it. She'd immediately follow it up and check it out. And I think that's important in terms of looking after yourself. Then the Mars in Virgo in the 6th house, I really see that as a bit of a conflict in terms of running the everyday life, the kind of home life, with this career. And I really think that this career would be a big focus that would cause conflict in the home life, that would draw her away from home. So that would cause some aggravation and tension there. But if you look at the chart, it connects to Saturn on the other side of the chart via that green line called a quincunx. And that leads to structure and solidity in Aquarius. And that's about taking ideas and bringing them out to other people regularly, consistently, never compromising about the mission, about the purpose, about the plan. So I really see that this woman is absolutely driven and absolutely certain of what her purpose on this planet is, and everything else is nice and she'll try and maintain it, but she will never deviate from what her ultimate goal and purpose and mission in life is. And isn't that great? I mean, a lot of people have a lifelong search and lifelong doubts about what is it I should be doing, what am I good at. I know there's something wonderful in here, but how do I bring that out and what can I actually do with it? That's not the case in Joan Rivers' chart. She came in, she started talking, and she knew she liked it and she kept on doing it. Okay, so that's the birth chart. I'm not going to spend any more time on that because I just want to give you a different idea of what you can look at in astrology. And the next thing I'm going to look at is this tri-wheel, this very complicated looking wheel. It's not that complicated. If you look at the inner wheel, that's the birth chart I just looked at. Then if you look at the middle wheel, that's the progressed chart that I explained at the beginning. And then if you look at the outer wheel, that's the transits. That's what's actually happening in the heavens right now. And in the middle wheel, the progressed chart, you only look at the personal planets. So you've got Mercury, Venus, Mars. So you look at those because it moves so slowly. You don't look at the outer planets because they won't really be moving very much at all. And then the transits, you just look at the outer planets. So Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto. Okay. So I'm gonna have a look at the transits and see what's going on for her right now. It was her birthday recently, so I could also do a solar return chart because I would give a view of the year ahead, but I'm just choosing to look at what's actually going on for her at this moment. Okay, so I look at that outer wheel, and I look at Jupiter first, where that's transiting. And that's just passed through her... it's just in her 5th house at the moment, which means Jupiter's really the planet of fortune and good luck. So it means that what she's really experiencing right now, it could be even, wow, this is surprising, but I don't mean to be indiscreet or whatever, but I really think that Jupiter luck, it's in the area of romance and children. So it could be that she really has a lot of enjoyment and gets a lot of fun and pleasure out of her relationship with her child, Melissa Rivers, that their relationship is really good. Or it could signal that she actually has a new romance in her life, which at 81 would be brilliant. So yeah, good for her. So that's Jupiter in there. The houses, the real, the planets and the signs and the houses combine to give me the meaning. And the fact that Jupiter's in Cancer there would probably mean, because Cancer is the family star sign, would probably mean that the likelihood of this having to do with her daughter Melissa is greater than the romance side of things. But, sometimes it varies a little bit, so you've got to kind of keep an open mind. Okay, the next sign is Saturn, and that's in her 8th house of the unconscious and inheritances and other people's money and the subconscious mind and all of those things. So let's have a look. And I'm just clicking through here to see how it's going to move over the next... I can actually animate this and see how it's going to move. And it stays there for a very long time. Okay, so it may mean that she's dealing with money matters at the moment, and she has been doing for a while, especially in the middle of this year. Definitely now during the summertime. But really figuring out how to manage her money as well as managing other people's money, bringing it all together so it looks good. It could also mean that she's sorting out her inheritances, her will. I mean, obviously at her age she probably would have done that a long time ago. And that's not, I don't think that's being rude, that's just being common sense. If you get to the age of 60, 70, 80, whatever, you sort your will out. So it could be that there's some tweaks to be made there. The next planet is Pluto, and that really indicates Pluto is death and rebirth, coming back and going, and it's in her career house. So when I went to see her at this the documentary. That was in 2000 and I think 2010 or 2011, something like that. So 4 years ago, and that was a real up. I remember that being a great success, and then there was some other successes, and then I think over the last year or two or something, it's dipped, and now it's going up again. So basically, there's a revival and there's endings, and revival and endings. So things like a fashion police came up, that was a huge thing. So it's an ongoing process like that. So I see some major changes continuing in her working life, and I'm just gonna see how long that Pluto stays in there. Usually Pluto moves very, very slowly. So that is until 2019. So we're in 2014 now. So over the next 5-year period, ups and downs in that career area, big time. Okay. Which is good, which means there is a career, which means there are ups and downs to be had. Okay, Neptune is in the 12th house. Okay, some real dreams and ideas towards what's the unmanifest, the asking of questions of what's beyond all of this, what's on the other side of this, questions of, you know, why are we here, what are we doing, what's coming up when this life ends, all of those kind of things, looking towards those things. She'll be in that mode, and she'll be even possibly asking spiritual question in the midst of all this work that she's doing. And then finally, Uranus is really the planet which has to do with rebellion and miracles and the unexpected, and that's in the 1st house, and that stays there for ages and ages and ages. So really I see that there's still a lot more to come from this lady. There's a lot of great stuff to come, in fact, and when Uranus enters something, it's the wild card. It's what you don't expect. It's the thing that comes out of left field. So there could be an absolute revival and even more success and something totally different. I mean, she's done a internet talk show which no one expected, I don't think, and which is really wonderful. And I don't think anyone would have thought of her doing that. But there's more stuff like that to come, and more of the energy of rebellion and you know, marching to the beat of one's own drum and all of that stuff. Great things to come, and it's in Aries, which means it's pioneering, it's fiery, and it's passion. So I really see a lot of good years yet to come with this lady, and she's going to keep us entertained, and she's going to keep doing what she's doing, and I think that's fantastic. Okay, so that's just a good... Oh, actually, is it in Aries? Let me just double check. I think I might have told you the wrong thing there. No, it is in Aries. Yeah, good. Okay. Phew. Right. So, okay. So I've used the transits and things just to give you an idea of the different types of ways you can forecast using astrology, because it's not just one way, and there are different kind of nuances and ways of looking at things, and it's very interesting. So if you'd like me to look at your personal natal charts and would like a private reading with me, then get in touch. You can look at my website, it's gregoryscott.com, and then you can click on readings, and all the information about the readings I do is on there. You can also send an email to readings@gregoryscott.co.uk, and you can also find me on Facebook, which is facebook.com/gregoryscott444. Okay, I hope you found this interesting, and I'll speak to you soon.